Another month, another detective-based hidden object puzzle adventure from Prime Gaming. This month we have Mystery Case Files Moths to a Flame, free until the 17th of April 2024, this time via the Amazon Games launcher rather than the Legacy Games launcher, even though it's on that store too. I wonder why. Did Amazon and Legacy Games fall out over something? Sounds like a mystery. One for the Case Files. If you've seen any of my other Hidden Objects puzzle reviews, this game will be no surprise. If not, feel free to check them out for a more in-depth explanation of the game genre in general. Briefly though, Moths to a Flame presents you with a series of static backgrounds with interactable objects scattered across the screen. Clicking on these objects will either have you pick something up to put in your inventory, or open a separate screen onto either a simple object use or hidden objects puzzle, where you have to use the right item or solve the puzzle to award another item to be used elsewhere. Occasionally there will be a more complex puzzle to solve to give you an object to be used elsewhere also, until eventually the chain of item use ends and you've finished the game. It's very railroaded in this particular incarnation, having fewer objects to collect than most other examples, and fewer locations accessible at a time. Generally just 3 or 4. Even when I had access to more locations than that, I'd actually completed a few of those areas and could discount them. I never had to revisit. I personally prefer this approach, as I don't think my memory is up to the task of remembering a dozen unsolved problems at a time and where to go back to them. Now, my biggest bugbear with this genre of games is the illogical puzzle use, where a coin is basically a better screwdriver than a screwdriver. But that's not an issue here. The item use always made sense to me, and I never once yelled, "What?" when finding a solution, which is not a claim I can make with most of these games. Now, graphics wise, these have probably been copied over from the developers' other games, because they all look basically the same, complete with poorly lip-synced characters speaking what is mostly passable voiceover. Though there was one or two accents that it sounded as if the actors had been asked to try their best and didn't quite nail it.
I think this is the last stop before I'm free.
There is a very okay background track, very much background. It's just a simple piano tune with strings on. It's fine. Like, it's not really supposed to be the main focus. The puzzles are. And there's a good variety on offer here. And they are actually themed to the story, which itself was mildly interesting, with a twist that I didn't see coming. It's by no means the reason to play the game. It's not like that good, but it is coherent and it's integrated with what you're actually doing in the game, the areas that you visit and some of the puzzles you need to solve. And I felt it added a little bit to the experience. The puzzles were somewhat of a mixed bag, which is not surprising given the very large number of puzzles that have been packed into this only 5-hour runtime game. There are some really good ones, some logic puzzles that needed a fair bit of thought, but there are some really simple ones that literally involved matching a shape to its whole, like kids do with blocks. I didn't see the point of those ones. The hidden object puzzles part of the game had some cleverly hidden objects, which is good because that's what they're supposed to be about. None of them were impossible to find, but a few of them needed a really good thorough scanning of the screen to find them. For those that are having any trouble with the puzzles, we now have the standard levels of difficulty, named slightly differently, easy, hard and insane, along with a custom option that lets you pick and choose individual settings for things like hint cooldowns, how many helpful sparkles and how often you see them that indicate interactable areas, and how many clicks you can make in a hidden object puzzle before it basically tells you off. It doesn't have any impact because you can try again after a timeout. Puzzles can be skipped as well, the more complex ones, with harder difficulty levels forcing a longer wait time until that skip option becomes available. And there's always the hint function outside of those puzzles that basically show you what area you need to interact with. A really handy addition that I've not seen before in these games is an info button during those more difficult puzzles that tells you what you need to do. With a few games in the past, I've had puzzles that I just couldn't complete because I had no idea what I was meant to do. The game just didn't tell me. And a couple here would have been the case if not for that button. All hidden object puzzle game developers, please put this in your games. It's such a good idea. Despite myself, I do enjoy these games. It's like a chill break from my typical fare. And it's all at the very fair price of nothing. I felt like I kind of breezed through this one, which is weird to say of like a 5-hour gaming session. But I never got stuck on any puzzle for too long. I never found myself confused as to what I was supposed to do next in that object use process. No doubt thanks to the more restricted number of areas I could visit. It was also nice, not a really big deal, but it was also nice that the main character that you play, Master Detective, never did anything really stupid, which was good. If you like these type of games, this has a good mix of, I'd say, medium difficulty puzzles that are satisfying enough to solve that the game was fun to play without being frustrating. It's also contained enough in the number of areas and the things you need to think about to be manageable for those looking to try the genre out for free. So this is definitely one I'd recommend to anyone that doesn't already know that they don't like these games. Also, the fact that you don't need to install yet another launcher is quite nice too. Okay, that's it from me for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.